After talking to dozens of mechanics, we discovered the shocking truth. Most people are ruining their cars with WD-40. It's not a miracle spray, it's a $3 can that's secretly causing $3,000 in damage. Today, I'll expose 15 WD-40 mistakes that destroy engines, brakes, and electronics faster than you think. We'll kick things off with a quick fix that turns smooth stops into sliding disasters. At number 15, spraying WD-40 on brakes. That squeak after a rainy drive, that little flash of rust on the rotor, someone online will swear a quick shot of WD-40 fixes it. One spray in silence, problem solved. Except what you just did wasn't cleaning your brakes. You just oiled them, and oil is the enemy of friction. Brakes don't work because they're shiny. They work because the pad and rotor grip each other with the exact chemistry engineers designed. Resin, fiber, and iron all meeting in perfect, violent harmony. When you spray WD-40 on that surface, you coat it with a film made to prevent friction. It soaks into the pad like oil into a sponge, turning your stopping power into mush. Sure, it'll stop the squeak right before it stops your car from stopping. Those first few pedals might feel soft, then suddenly, the bite's gone. Your rotor's glazed, your pad's cooked. Even WD-40 themselves say it. Don't use it on brake rotors. Use a proper brake cleaner, the kind that evaporates, leaves nothing behind, and keeps your brakes dry, clean, and deadly consistent. Because a $5 can of the wrong stuff can turn into a $500 repair, or something much worse. That was friction's worst enemy. But the next mistake attacks the part that keeps everything moving. Number 14, spraying WD-40 on belts. You hear it first thing in the morning, that high-pitched squeal from under the hood. Someone says, just hit it with WD-40, works every time. And for a moment, it does. The sound fades, the belt shines. Then the trouble begins. That squeal wasn't asking for oil, it was warning you something's off. Tension, alignment, or wear. Modern serpentine belts are made of EPDM rubber designed to grip dry. Spray oil on it, and you turn friction into slip. The belt swells, the ribs glaze, and the next cold start brings the squeal right back, only louder. Here's what really happens. Oil seeps into the rubber, softens it, and polishes the grooves until they can't grab the pulleys anymore. Your alternator output drops, your steering pump groans, and your tensioner starts dying young. What began as a chirp can end in a breakdown. And if it's a timing belt, that's not noise, that's Russian roulette. Oil weakens the teeth, and when they shear, valves and pistons meet violently. So no, WD-40 isn't a cure, it's a cover-up. The fix is mechanical, not chemical. Replace the belt, align the pulleys, and let it run dry. Exactly how the engineers designed it. Ready for a mistake that costs hundreds and starts with one innocent puff of mist? Number 13. Cleaning a MAF sensor with WD-40. Here's a quick way to turn a smooth-running car into a confused mess. Spray WD-40 on your mass airflow sensor. Sounds harmless, right? One spray to clean it and the idle instantly feels better, until it doesn't. Your MAF isn't a chunk of metal. It's a tiny, hot wire or film that measures how much air cools it down. That's how your ECU decides how much fuel to inject. Coat that wire with oil, and it starts lying. The car runs lean, the throttle feels lazy, and your fuel trims go haywire, trying to chase a number that no longer means anything. WD-40 was built to protect metal, not measure airflow. It leaves a microscopic oily film that sticks like perfume on skin. Great for rust, terrible for precision sensors. That layer turns a $5 cleaning idea into a $300 replacement part and a weekend of chasing phantom lean condition codes. Real mechanics use residue-free MAF cleaner, the kind that flashes off instantly and leaves the element bone dry. Because when your sensor's job is to measure air, even a fingerprint of oil is a lie your engine can't afford to believe. We've messed with the brain. Now let's see what happens when you blind the nose. Number 12. Spraying or hitting an O2 sensor. If your check engine light comes on and someone tells you to just spray the oxygen sensor, stop right there. That sensor isn't a bolt, it's a chemical lab that lives in your exhaust. Inside that tiny metal shell is a ceramic cell comparing the oxygen in your exhaust to clean air drawn through its wires. It makes voltage by literally measuring chemistry. Now imagine coating that with oil, grease, or WD-40. You didn't fix it, you just blinded it. The sensor breathes through microchannels in the connector. Fill them with dielectric grease or oily residue, and it can't breathe at all. The readings lag, the ECU gets confused, and your fuel trims go off chasing ghosts. Suddenly, you're running rich, burning fuel, and cooking your catalytic converter to death, all because of a quick clean. The truth? Oxygen sensors don't want help. They don't want oil, anti-seize on their vents, or sprays near their tip. If it's slow, replace it. If it's dirty, fix the leak that dirtied it. A $10 can of the wrong stuff can cost you a $400 converter and a week of head scratching. Some things in your exhaust are sacred. This is one of them. Before we move on, make sure you're subscribed so the next time a quick fix goes viral, you'll know whether it's genius or a garage disaster waiting to happen. Number 11. Spraying electrical connectors. You hit the window switch, nothing. Jiggle it again, it works. For a second. That's when someone always says, spray it with WD-40. And right there, the trap is set. The multi-use formula was made to displace water and protect metal. It leaves a slick film, perfect for rusty hinges, terrible for electrical contacts. That oil clings to dust, turns sticky, and slowly insulates the very surfaces that need to stay clean and conductive. Inside a connector, the metal pins are supposed to wipe against each other and stay dry. Add oil, and that wiping action stops doing its job. Over time, you get fretting corrosion, microscopic motion wearing off plating until your signal flickers like a dying Christmas light. Then comes the plastic problem. Those housings and seals aren't built for petroleum oils. They soften, swell, or crack just enough to let moisture sneak in later. That's why proper contact cleaners brag about leaves no residue. It's not a slogan, it's survival. The fix isn't faith in a blue can. It's a residue-free electronics cleaner made for the job, or the right contact grease where the manufacturer says to use one. Clean, dry, protected, and never oily. If oil ruined your wiring, wait till you see what it does to your headlights. Number 10. Spraying WD-40 on clear plastics. You've seen the videos. Someone mists a yellowed headlight with WD-40, wipes it once, and boom, crystal clear. It's instant gratification in a can, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. What you're seeing isn't restoration, it's illusion. The solvent wets the surface and fills microscopic cracks, bending light just enough to fake clarity. But beneath that shine, the plastic is quietly dissolving. Modern headlights and gauge covers are made from polycarbonate, a tough material that hates hydrocarbons. Those same solvents sneak into the surface, weaken the chains, and trigger tiny stress fractures called crazing. A week later, the lens looks foggier than before, and those spiderweb cracks, they never go away. You also just attacked the UV coating that protects the lens from sunlight. Once that barrier softens, the yellowing speeds up, the plastic embrittles, and your next bulb change might snap the tabs clean off. The right fix isn't sexy, sanding, polishing, sealing with a UV hard coat, but that boring chemistry lasts. The quick spray trick? It trades 10 minutes of wow for months of irreversible haze. What looked like magic was just your headlight's first warning cry. We just ruined plastic clarity. Now we're going after your weather stripping. Number 9. Spraying WD-40 on rubber seals. It always starts with a squeaky door on a cold morning. You grab the blue and yellow can, give the weather strip a quick mist, and just like that, silence. Feels like victory, until summer hits. Now the seal looks bloated in spots, feels sticky to the touch, and the door needs a full shove to latch. That's not bad luck, that's chemistry. Most car seals and hoses are made from EPDM rubber, the same stuff that shrugs off ozone and sunlight. But EPDM has one fatal weakness. It hates petroleum. Those light oils seep into the rubber, swell it from the inside, and slowly change its shape. The soft, springy gasket that used to kiss the frame now sags, leaks, and traps grime like flypaper. It looks shiny, even revived, for a week or two, then it starts aging twice as fast. The cure you sprayed became the disease. Real techs reach for silicone, not solvent. A silicone paste or dry silicone spray keeps the seal supple without feeding it the chemistry that destroys it. One costs a few bucks. The other costs a new door seal and a winter of wind noise. The next one goes deeper, right into your braking system itself. Number 8. Spraying WD-40 on brake pins. There are mistakes you can make under a hood and walk away fine. Spraying WD-40 on brake caliper pins isn't one of them. That's a slow-motion disaster wearing a clean shirt. Those pins live beside rotors that can hit hundreds of degrees. They slide in and out through tiny rubber boots made of EPDM, a material that hates petroleum. Hit them with a water-displacing oil, and the chemistry starts eating from the inside out. At first, it feels like you fixed something. The pins move smoother, the brakes feel sharper. Then one pad starts wearing faster, the rotor runs hotter, and by the time you notice, the boot's swollen, torn, and full of rust. Once that happens, your floating caliper isn't floating anymore. It drags, cooks the pads, warps the rotor, and ruins your fuel economy, all because the lube that worked on door hinges got near the brakes. Real brake grease doesn't run, melt, or swell rubber. It's silicone or ceramic-based, made to survive heat and stay compatible with EPDM. The right tube costs $10 and lasts a dozen brake jobs. The wrong spray costs a weekend, a caliper, and a reminder that chemistry always wins. If brakes were risky, the next one hits your clutch and your wallet. Number 7. Spraying WD-40 on a clutch. A squeak when you press the clutch. A chirp at idle. You grab a can, thread the straw through the inspection port, and fog the bell housing like it owes you silence. The noise fades, for now. That calm you bought lasts hours, maybe a day. What you didn't see was the mist settling on your clutch disc, a dry friction surface that should never meet oil. That quick fix just turned into a contamination event. Once hydrocarbons touch that lining, it's over. The disc soaks it in, the surface glazes, and your smooth engagement turns into a sticky, chattering mess. You'll chase the problem until someone finally says the words no driver wants to hear: "We need to pull the transmission." The truth is, clutch squeaks almost never live on the disc. They come from throwout bearings, fork pivots, or guide tubes, all spots that need high-temp grease applied during service, not through a straw while the gearbox is still in the car. The right grease lives for years inside a sealed system. The wrong spray takes seconds to undo it all. A can of solvent might buy a minute of peace, but it can also buy you a brand new clutch. Think clutch damage is bad? The next one messes with the bolts that hold your car together. Number 6. Oiling wheel studs before torquing. It sounds like a favor to the next mechanic, a dab of oil on the studs so the nuts don't seize. But that one helpful spritz just changed the math your torque wrench was built on. When you torque a lug nut, you're not measuring clamp force. You're measuring friction, the resistance of the threads and the seat. Automakers know that, which is why every torque spec for passenger cars assumes one thing: clean and dry, add oil, and the friction drops. Suddenly, that same torque stretches the stud more than intended, sometimes by 20 or 30%. It feels snug. In reality, you just over-tightened it, warping seats, necking studs, or setting yourself up for a future snap. And it cuts both ways. Less friction at the cone seat can also mean less locking force. After a few heat cycles, vibration takes over and the nuts back off. One side of the car goes loose, the other side overstressed. Neither ends well. The pro move: brush the threads clean, keep them dry, torque to spec, and recheck after a drive if your manual calls for it. The only thing that belongs on those studs is air. If you thought over-torqued wheels were scary, wait till you see fire meet tire. Number 5. The WD-40 fire tire trick. You've seen the clip. A guy sprays WD-40 into a tire, lights a match, and boom, the bead pops on like magic. It looks clever, loud, and harmless. It's none of those things. That pop is an explosion. You've just ignited a flammable vapor inside a pressure vessel that can turn into a grenade if anything goes wrong. OSHA and tire industry safety boards have documented it for decades. These blasts break jaws, blind eyes, even kill. Here's what's really happening. When fuel vapor meets trapped air, the burn isn't uniform. One side ignites first, hammering the tire unevenly and sending shards of rim or hot gas flying. Even if it works, you may have just cooked the liner or weakened the cords. That damage hides until a highway curve finishes what the fire started. Real tire shops don't gamble. They use non-flammable bead lubricants, proper cages, and air chucks long enough to keep their bodies out of the blast zone. It's boring, and that's the point. Boring keeps you alive. The WD-40 fire trick isn't innovation. It's playing Russian roulette with compressed air, and you only have to lose once. That one burned tires. The next one just melts them slowly. Number 4. Spraying WD-40 on tire sidewalls. There's something satisfying about watching a dull tire turn jet black with one quick mist. Under the lights, it looks perfect. Deep, glossy, brand new. But what you just did wasn't detailing. It was chemistry sabotage. Tire rubber isn't just rubber. It's a living mix of oils, waxes, and anti-ozone agents that slowly migrate to the surface to protect it from cracking and UV damage. When you coat that with petroleum distillates, the same stuff that makes WD-40 so slick, you dissolve that shield. Sure, it looks gorgeous for a day or two. Then the sidewalls start to brown, fade, and crack faster than before. You've stripped the tire of its built-in sunscreen. Manufacturers like Michelin and Cooper have been begging owners to stop doing this for years. Their advice is painfully simple. Clean with soap and water and walk away. That's all it takes to let the compounds do their job. So when you see a can promising instant wet look, remember, shiny isn't protection, it's a temporary lie. Real protection is invisible, boring, and designed by the chemists who built the tire, not the ones who made your household spray. The next one's tiny, but it can lock you out of your own car for good. Number 3, spraying WD-40 into door or ignition locks. It's the oldest quick fix in the book. Your key sticks, so you hit the lock with WD-40. It feels smoother instantly. Problem solved, right? Not even close. Inside that lock are tiny brass pins, springs, and clearances so fine they barely have room for dust, let alone oil. When you fog that keyway, you leave a sticky film that traps every speck of grit and metal powder your key drags in. Over time, that slick feeling turns into sludge, and the next tech to touch it will be flushing brown goo out of a cylinder that used to work dry and clean. Lock manufacturers know this cycle by heart. That's why names like Yale, Master Lock, and ASSAABLOY all say the same thing. Skip the oil. Use a dry PTFE or graphite-based lube that leaves no residue and won't gum up the pins. WD-40 fixes the symptom for a week, then creates the failure you'll be paying to replace. A can of proper dry lube costs lunch money. A coated automotive lock replacement? That's 50 times more. A clean, dry keyway isn't just maintenance. It's the difference between a car that unlocks and one that doesn't. We've jammed locks. Now we're about to ruin paint jobs. Number 2, using WD-40 before paint or as wax. Body shops have a word that strikes fear into every painter: fish eyes. Tiny craters that form in fresh paint when oil or silicone contaminates the surface. They don't just ruin a finish, they ruin a whole job, and nothing causes fish eyes faster than a thin film of oil. When you wipe a panel with WD-40, you're laying down the exact kind of contamination that paint is designed to run from. Instead of flowing smooth, the clear coat recoils, leaving circles that look like blisters under glass. Professional painters spend hours keeping that stuff out of the booth. PPG, Axalta, Sherwin-Williams. They all preach the same gospel: keep oil, wax, and silicone away. The smallest airborne mist can seed a full panel of defects. Even when you're not painting, using WD-40 as wax is a quiet disaster. It fills scratches with oil, fakes a shine, then breaks down, leaving no UV protection, no durability, and a surface real wax can't bond to. The shine you see isn't protection, it's residue. The real pros know better. Paint needs to breathe clean and bond clean. Anything oily, even a single wipe, can cost you a full respray. The final one looks innocent, but it grinds your glass from the inside out. Number 1, spraying WD-40 in window channels. You hit the switch and the window hesitates, slow, groaning, like it's dragging through mud. So you grab the can, give the channel a quick spray, and like magic, it glides again. for now. That smoothness is the calm before the storm. The felt channel that guides your glass isn't meant to stay wet. It's designed to stay clean. A low-friction path that sheds water, not traps it. When you coat it in oil, every bit of dust, sand, and road grit sticks to it like flypaper. The next time you roll the window up, that grit grinds between the glass and felt, sanding both down a millimeter at a time. Soon, the motor's working overtime, pulling more current, heating up, and eventually burning out. By the time you're replacing the regulator, the channel looks like black paste, road dust mixed with oil and regret. Professionals do it differently. They clean the track and use a silicone spray that dries fast and doesn't collect dirt. It's what keeps windows quiet, smooth, and alive for years. WD-40 fixes the symptom, not the problem. Silicone fixes the system. One saves seconds, the other saves your motor. Avoiding WD-40 disasters is just the start. Next, find out the one monthly ritual that keeps engines running smooth for decades. Click now before another mile wears yours down. Now that you know what not to do with WD-40, it's time to learn what really works. Our next video reveals genius WD-40 tricks that save you thousands. Don't miss it.